And welcome back to the Mike Pressler Show here at Blackie's Bulldog Tavern. Mike Mancuso once again joined by head coach Mike Pressler. And coach, NEC Tournament is finally upon us. I think a lot of us were hoping that you'd be hosting it here in Smithfield. Based on the result last weekend at Robert Morris, that's not the case. Instead, you get a trip back out to Pittsburgh. And there will be an NEC title on the line. There's no automatic qualifier this year for the NCAA tournament, but still with a title on the line, I'm sure you guys are going to be fired up to play. But it does bring up another long road trip. So back-to-back weeks with a long road trip. You'll be playing 2 games in 3 days if you win the first game against Quinnipiac. How big of a challenge will that be, and how prepared do you think your team will be for this?
Well, we're going to be really prepared. We're really excited to play in the NEC tournament. Disappointed that we didn't beat Robert Morris, but they beat us. They deserve this. They earned this. We have nobody to blame for our performance but ourselves, but that's behind us now.
Right.
Today we had a great practice getting ready for Quinnipiac, a team we know very well, played a couple weeks ago down there. Very much a defensive battle both ways. I think we won the game 9-5. They kind of slowed the tempo down a little bit, smartly on their part, and played some zone, and we just got to be ready to attack all the things that we saw in our post-game evaluation of the Quinnipiac game. So a lot of respect for Eric Fekete, his team. They're a young team, a lot of freshmen in key spots. That hasn't changed. They're a little bit better, I think, with each game as the freshman experience. And it's tournament time. What do you say? It's win and go on, and lose when your season's over.
Right. And now, is there any extra motivation, since these will be the final games of the season, and any extra incentive to send off the seniors with a pair of wins?
I think what you said at the end there, Mike, the 6 seniors that that near and dear to me in our program, we want those guys to go out winners on the field and to win, a tough task, possibly 2 games in 3 days would be a great fitting ending to a great career for Jamison Love and Rob Mayrano and Travis Harrington and Tim Clinton and Max Wiesenberg and Matt Larson and that entire crew that we think so we're so fond of.
Right. So the first test will be Quinnipiac. They come into this one 3-10, 2-3 in NEC play. They're riding, they had a 3-game winning streak in the middle of the season where they beat Binghamton, Mount St. Mary's, and Wagner. But they've lost 4 straight, including last weekend 13-9 at Sacred Heart. But they did qualify as the number 3 seed in the tournament. How do you like this semifinal matchup for your team?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. 2 conflicting styles of play. It could be a very different game than we played the last couple times around with Robert Morris and others. But a game we got to adjust to and be ready to play kind of a unique style, so to speak, the way they play. So I think that's going to be, getting that in our guys' heads that's the kind of game it's going to be is so important for us in this short week.
Right. And now, from all your experience over the years, how difficult is it to beat a team twice in the same season?
Well, in the old days, I played team 3 times in one season, so beating the team twice but the difference is it's on neutral ground. Mm-hmm. So it's very much, there's no advantage either way from a home field advantage. It's a long haul for them. It's 2 hours more than for us.
Yeah.
The long haul for each team. Each team has exams coming up, I believe. I know we do. So there's a lot of distraction on our guys' mind, but the key thing is it's the end of the line.
Right.
We know it's our last week of the season, and in this game Friday night, there's a lot riding for both teams.
Mm-hmm. Now, the first time you guys met this season, it was a 9-5 victory for you guys down in Hamden, Connecticut. It was about 3 weeks ago. Brian Schlansker had a kind of a breakout game, 3 goals on 3 shots. Dan Sipperly had 2 goals and an assist, and all 9 goals in the game had assists for you guys. Also, the second midfield unit really had perhaps its finest game of the season. Kevin Massa was 12 of 18 on faceoffs in that one as well, and Jamison had 6 saves on 11 shots. First game, though, you did lose the ground ball battle for the first time all season long. How do you plan to address that for this game?
We've already talked about that. That was something that really teed me off.
Yeah.
That first game that we lost that battle on their home field, and a lot of it begins and ends with the face-off. But we just got to do a better job at each end. Our close D out ground ball in their attack, our attack out ground ball in their close D, creating second chances defensively, one and done, getting it out. And key emphasis for us versus Quinnipiac Friday.
Yep. And now also in that game, they really slowed it down. They kind of threw a lot of zone defenses at you as well. What lessons did you take away from that game that you played 3 weeks ago?
They mixed it a lot, played some zone almost on every end line, kind of different zones, moved their short sticks around. So, good strategy on their part. If they think that's going to slow us down, and Yeah, I think for some of the game, it certainly did.
Yeah.
But we just got to be ready to play a half-field game Friday night.
Right, and now this time around you'll have a full week to prepare for them. Last time you had 2 games within the week. Do you think that's going to make much of a difference at this point in the season?
Not really, Mike. It's the end of the line. It's you only need a couple days of practice anyway. We've been at it. I think practice today was number 75.
Yep.
16 regular season games, 75 practices. We've been at it a long time.
Right.
And now it's about keeping our guys excited, keeping our guys full of energy, and certainly backing off in practice and keeping them fresh mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's my job this week.
Right. And now the Bobcats this year have been led by Michael Sagel. He's a freshman, 16 goals, 15 assists. Matt Deal, another freshman, 11 goals and 17 assists this far. And Dylan Webster, also one of their face-off men, 22 goals and 2 assists and 54% on the draws. Freshman goalkeeper, though, allowing about 12 goals per game and only a .442 save percentage. Do you see that as a weak spot for the Bobcats?
Any freshman goalie, unless he's Jamison Love, is that's a tough road.
Right.
That's a tough road. I mean, that's a long season, a lot of pressure. A lot of times freshman goalies kind of wilt a little bit. I'm not necessarily saying that about the Quinnipiac player, but at the end of the day, it's as I said, it's tough. It's the most demanding job in our sport. You're the last line of defense, obviously, and when the ball goes in, everybody kind of looks to the goalie. They don't necessarily look to the guys in front of him
Right.
that basically made mistakes. So, there's no doubt we like our matchup there, Jamison. Versus the young freshman, but I've seen freshmen come up with 15, 20 save games when they need them the most. So.
Right.
Only time will tell as we get closer to Friday night.
So it should be another good one. The Bulldogs taking on Quinnipiac on the road in Pittsburgh in the first semifinal of the NEC Tournament. When we return, we will preview the other semifinal matchup between Mount St. Mary's and Robert Morris. It's all here next on the Mike Pressler Show on Cox Sports Television.